Hello, everybody, and welcome to Neely Music, where I, O'Neill Donald, talk about music, life, and fun. And today is the day that I talk about the self-titled album from Dumblonde. Yes! Like, I'm so excited, and I say that in a lot of my videos, but that's because I'm really excited for music, and in particular, I'm excited for one of, I guess, two phoenixes that have risen from the ashes of Danity Kane, because Danity Kane was really a favorite group of mine as a teenager, and now that Dawn's gone off doing her thing, and Dumblonde's now released their own album, I was really anxious to hear exactly what was coming from them. And I was kind of skeptical at first because I was like, being honest, I was like, Aubrey and Shannon, I don't know. But I definitely heard White Lightning and was flabbergasted. I was like, oh my gosh. I don't know how to handle this. I heard the pre-order, and now that the album's here, I'm going to do a review of the full album. And I listened to that thing all week. I bought that thing when it came out last week, and I was listening to it left, right, and center. I literally had to like delete it off my phone because I was listening to it too much. But like literally, like, it's just such a great album. It's very catchy. It's very it's just very wholesome. Like, I was so pleased with the album. And honestly, I'm so glad that Danity Kane broke up at this point, because Shannon and Aubrey radio, their producer, and the writers, because Shannon and Aubrey wrote, but there's also a co-writer I was seeing a lot. Her name was like Candice Pillar, and shout out to her, because they have come out with such a tight niche. Like, it's such a good thing that they have going for them right now. And so I'm gonna go through my notes and tell you all about the Dumblonde album. Honestly, this album actually, it even reminded me of like playing video of like some video game music that I would play in the past. I don't know if maybe radio like played a lot of video games or was inspired by that, but I kind of got that feel. A lot of people are kind of calling this album like pop, but I wouldn't really call this album pop because it's a little deeper than usual pop. And it kind of leans a little bit more towards dance and electronic. It was in the dance section on iTunes, but I would call it like ambient pop, because it has a lot of it's very eclectic. It has a lot of influences that are all in the mix, but it has qualities that make it very ethereal and atmosphere-like, and that's why I would just call it like ambient pop, because it's definitely not pop. It's definitely not Taylor Swift. But anyway, I really actually even enjoyed the fact that they put out visuals for a lot of the songs on the album, because just seeing the visuals actually makes you experience the music in a different way. I guess what Beyonce has started is really catching on with like this visual thing, and it actually does help you to see the music in a different way. Sorry if I'm talking a little quietly. My voice is kind of so I'm just not gonna force it today. But yeah. When it comes to the vocal performance, I know you and I both know this. If you listen to the album, the vocals are very digitized, and a lot of people would take that as like, oh my gosh, they're using autotune. Oh my gosh, they can't sing or anything like that. But I really think that it just was for the sake of the style of the album, for the sound that they were going for, because I think that with the digitized vocals, they were able to go with they were able to meld and marry the vocals to the production a little bit more, and the vocals became a part of the production. There were times in the songs where like the vocals, in fact, on almost every one of the songs, where like the vocals would be chopped up, or there would be raised in pitch, lowered in pitch, to kind of be played with. For the sake of the production, and giving like an instrumental break or a musical break, like in White Lightning when she sings "So will and then in other songs like in the end of Tender Green Life, where like all of the vocals from the song are just like, you know, mixed and matched together. That's one thing I loved about it, is that the vocals are actually a part of the production, and like it. I feel like there were many stages in the making of the album where they revisited songs, and they were like, okay, how can we make this better? And they were constantly doing that to create something that was a full experience. I really enjoyed that. Also with the vocal performance, because it's just two of them, it's just Aubrey and Shannon. They have this thing going where they're able to use these very unconventional harmonies, where like usually in harmonization you'll have like the voices moving together parallelly, like just going in the same direction, whether it be up or down or whatever. But there would be times where Aubrey would go up and Shannon would stay down, like in the verses of Waiting on You, and then Shannon would go instead of something else that would be a little bit more conventional. I really enjoyed that. And also they did that in there's another song I had in my examples. They did that in the end of Carry On, which is one of my favorite songs. We're gonna get to that in a moment. But the end of Carry On, where Shannon joins in on the bottom, and they're singing the Fall Away Love, and then Fall Away Love. Like it's really great, and they're not really close together. They're either close together or they're far apart, and they have options because they're because the two, it's just two of them and it's not three of them where they have to have close harmonies or anything like that to sound good. Really love that. There are a lot of vocal decisions that were made that were really good. Like for example, using their head voices. I was watching an interview and Aubrey was talking about how their producer was talking to them and just like, you know, you don't have to belt everything out and you can use your head voice. And I really love the way that they digitized it and put effects on it, and it really made it sound very, very not weird, but like unique, and I really enjoyed that. Like for example, like even like. And one thing about the fact that they use their head voices is that and I say this in my Jason Derulo review about his falsetto, is the fact that because they're using their head voices, they have more range to work with in terms of songwriting. So they can jump high, they can go back into their chest voice if they want to. For example, in Take Away, they have this one really high part in the verse, and I was like, where did that come from? And it was really interesting to hear. Like all throughout this album, there are many things that surprised me, and in fact, this is actually like genre wise, this is usually something I wouldn't really listen to. Like there were times that the album sounded very quote unquote messy, but like because there were a lot of things going on, but I really thoroughly enjoyed it. Songwriting wise, well, I guess this is more of a vocal performance thing going into the songwriting things. I couldn't understand anything that they were saying, and I really wanted to understand what they were saying, but I guess with the effects and the way that they were singing, I just couldn't understand like from beginning to end. Like I had to really look up the lyrics to figure out what they were saying, and when I did, I was so enlightened to the fact that the lyrics are very like they're very ethereal and ambient, just like the production. Like in Tender Green Life, can I just pull up the lyrics really quick? Let's see if I can look them up. Tender Green Life lyrics, because I read the lyrics and I was like, oh my gosh, this is actually really deep and very like cosmetic. Not cosmetic, cosmic. The first verse is, we can live wild, climb the trees and leave the roots behind. Here are my eyes, chase your soul and see inside your mind. Eons ago, footprints from lovers I used to know. No. And like, and woo hoo 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 hoo, lost in the chase and whatever. But like, it's just very it almost gives like this this high feeling. Like it's almost like a like it's ethereal, like it's like heavenly, like it's it almost gives the sense of like you're in space. Like it's really interesting like that, even down to like the actual words that they use, which I really appreciate. Also the melodies that are in the verses to the hooks to whatever, like throughout, they're just very strong. The use of space is absolutely gorgeous and very effective. For example, in Waiting on You, they're not singing throughout or whatever. Like it's, first of all, it's the two of them singing together, and they're and there's like little spaces like the dun 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 dun, and like it's very like they're really, it's kind of nitpicky, but like it's just those little things that make the songwriting in this album like very different than anything that I've ever really heard. Like it was really refreshing for me to hear. And like there are catchy verses and things like that, like in Remember Me, when they kind of had like that Caribbean thing going on, like very subtle Caribbean. of just like the dun 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 dun, and even like the subtle changes and the from verse 1 to verse 2, like in White Lightning, where Aubrey singing one way, like da na 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 da na 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 da na na, immortality you are, and then Shannon comes and gives like a different interpretation of what she did in verse 1, and it's very subtle rhythmic changes, but it makes it so catchy. Like I was like, oh my gosh, this is so catchy. Like you and me ultra fly, queen butterfly, I was like, yes, yes, yes. Oh yes. But anyway, in terms of production, the production is always constantly growing and moving, and it's one thing that I always aspire for myself as a producer, to always have music that's constantly changing and is never really stays stagnant. But Radio is definitely not a lazy producer. Like, he really just was constantly working throughout. I don't know who mixed the album, but I'm sure that they probably also had some things that they added to the production as well to give it really just a sense of constantly changing, which I really appreciated. And the production's also hitting the vocals, like in the end, not the end of the second verse of Shannon's verse in Eyes on Horizon, when she's singing until the end, and there's something that happens in the hi-hats that it just indicates, okay, I'm hitting this with you, and we're going to this place together. And that's one thing I really appreciate, and it's one thing I look for in music. A lot of people probably watch my reviews and sometimes may disagree with what I'm saying, but it's because I look for different things. I look for the production and for the vocals to be married together. It's not just about the singer, it's about what is the production doing to lift the lyrics, to lift the overall and the general feel of the song. And I really feel like Radio did an amazing job of lifting lifting the vocals and the lyrics. Just really, really great job. There's also some great hip hop trap undertones in a lot of the songs, like for example in White Lightning with that chorus, and Yellow Canary, which I thoroughly enjoy. Even though it's not one of my highlight songs, Yellow Canary is like vibes for days, and I really, really loved it. In fact, it was really hard for me to choose highlight songs for this album, but this is my favorite part, because I'm talking about my highlight songs. But one more production note, because I don't want to miss anything. Well, no, I just said that. Just the fact that the production and the vocals work together. Sweet. So, my standout tracks. Tender Green Life. Now, I heard this song when it came out on the pre-order, and I was instantly, probably like a few milliseconds in, I was like, yeah, absolutely, just the pads, just the groove that was created between the percussion and the pads, and then just like the where they were how high they were singing in the verses, that the we could be wild, climb the trees, or much higher, but vocally I'm not very I'm kind of vocally handicapped today, but so, yeah. All right, Tender Green Life, definitely. I was like, yes, absolutely. Now, Takeaway. I was listening to the song at night and I was walking home, and honestly, this song is just so, like, I just love the night feel that it gives. Probably because I was like, just what I was visually seeing. It was just a great experience. Like, just the delay and the reverb that was on the vocals, and the space that's in the verses, like just the takeaway. Dana, 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 and then the higher part, where they take it up into like the heavens and just sing really high. I was like, oh wow, this is really good. And there's very like simple melodic and rhythmic motifs that are in the what was it? The rhythmic motifs are in the vocals. Yeah, it was just the verses. The take away, dana, dana, dana. Da-da-da. And then there's this in the pre-chorus, there's like this really like this choir like ambient like harmonization that's going on with like a whole bunch of vocals, and I was like, yes, absolutely. And just the overall vibe, it was definitely one of like my number 2 song on the album. But my number 1 song on the album, and this excludes White Lightning, because White Lightning I already talked about in another video, but oh my gosh, Carry On. and I think it might have been simply because I watched the video, and the video was amazingly edited to fit the song. Like awesome editing. Whoever you are, whoever did that, amazing. But it just like the simplicity of the beat from the beginning, the doon 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 doon, and then the melody of that verse. It's very, very. It feels like, and I talk about it all the time throughout this album. It's just ethereal and sirenic. Like it sounds like a siren, not a siren like a police siren, but like, like the mythological creatures that like could hypnotize you and whatever. That's exactly how it felt. I was just like, and then like there's this drum response to that part in the song, and then there's a lift in the production, where it goes, like there's a lift and it goes, and there's a hey in the production to respond to the vocals and what's going on. I'm just like, the call and response and like the marriage of the production to the lyrics and the vocal performance is just amazing. Like this is exactly what I aspired to have in my music, and I love hearing in other types of music. And let me not forget the end of Carry On, where there's like this tempo is slowed ever so slightly, and then it's very simple drums, and Aubrey just sets up this outro, and then Shannon comes in and they harmonize together, and it's just like almost like a belly dance. Like it's really, really graceful, like the fall away love, fall away love, fall down fall, and like even like the slowing down of the tempo even all the way into the end, and just like that little last note that Aubrey gives, absolutely amazing. So Dumblonde album was an absolute joy to listen to, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. That's just the thing, the marriage of the production and the vocal. If you get that, you've got my heart musically, and I really enjoyed it. Shannon, Aubrey, power to you. You guys are awesome. Great job. Like even doing this independently, like and actually I'm gonna say one thing, because it's all over, and of course we know people are going to talk about it. A lot of people think, and I mentioned this in my White Lightning video, but I'm going to say this again, that a lot of people probably think that because Aubrey and Shannon are doing this after Dawn, that even with like the visuals and just like the music being a little different, that they're copying Dawn. But I'm telling you, the music is totally different. Like Dawn is doing something, like, even though there's similarities, there's definitely similarities. However, they were in the same group for like 10 years. Like, hello. Of course they're going to have the same experience. Like they're going to like grow together and have similarities in like the way they think musically or whatever. Like Dawn was listening to Aubrey was listening to Dawn. Mind you, Dawn is very creative, so I know Aubrey and Shannon were listening to Dawn, and Dawn was feeding off of Aubrey and Shannon, and of course D Woods and Andrea together as a group. That's what happens when you're in a group. And now that they've separated, and Dawn's doing her thing and Dumblonde's they're doing their thing, like even though there are similarities, like it's totally different stuff. And the amount of creativity that's on first of all their producer, their Candice Pillar, their co-writer, and the two of them, like that deserves mentioning. And like it's not like they're not copycats anyway. That's just something I had to get off of my chest. But yes, that's the end of my review of the Dumblonde album, but that does not have to be the end of the conversation. You can follow me on Twitter at Neely Music. You can watch my other reviews. I just reviewed the Tamar Braxton album that just came out. You can watch that. Watch my covers. I have a lot of things going on here. I'm not posting videos as much as I usually would. I'm doing it more weekly now, but yeah, still check out what I have to say, and just like even talk to me, like comment below and like this video if you liked what I said. This is O'Neil Donald signing off. Bye.